Hey there, friends. We are going to continue our work with story problems this week. We're going to be doing different kinds of story problems, talking about them, figuring out the answers, figuring out number sentences. Um, Before we begin our work with the story problem for today, I'd like to go over the poster that we made last week to help us organize our thoughts and help us to remember some of the things that we talked about from last week with story problems. Okay. We talked about that if something is addition, if it's an addition number sentence, we will use the plus sign or we will add. Subtraction, we will subtract. Take away, we will use the minus symbol. We talked about that the sum is the answer to an addition problem, and the sum will always be bigger than the numbers you start with. We talked about how difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So we use the word difference when we're talking about subtraction. And the difference will always be smaller than the number you started with. Okay. We also talked about some words or phrases that we use when or that we look for in story problems to tell us which kind of problem it will be, whether it will be addition or subtraction. Altogether is a word that tells us that it's going to be an addition problem. In all is another clue that we're going to add. If someone had something and they got some more, or someone gave them some more of that thing, that tells us that we're going to add. As far as on the subtraction side, we talked about how if we hear the words have left or have now, that would be a good clue that we're going to use subtraction. Also, how many more, if we're asked that question, that's a good guess, a good hint or a good clue that we're going to use subtraction. Also, if somebody in a story gave something away, that means they have less of what they had before. So that means they're going to subtract. Those were just some clue words that we talked about last week. All right. What I'd like to do is I'd like to read and kind of work through this story problem. The one for today. Let me grab my marker. Okay. Kyrie had 10 apples. He ate 4 apples. How many does he have left? I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to circle the numbers. Those are important. But I'm also going to underline what we are, what we're working with, or what 10 what, our label or our unit, 10 what, 10 apples, okay? Then he ate 4 apples. And what we want to find out is how many does he have left? How many does he have left? Now, if we went over here to our poster, I see have left. Have left is a good clue that we are going to use subtraction. So I'm going to write my number sentence over here using the numbers and using the subtraction, okay, that we're going to subtract. 10 minus 4 equals, and the number that we don't know yet, we have to figure out, I'll put in that box later. All right? Okay, so I'm going to start drawing a picture. Oops. I'm going to make 10 circles or 10 dots. Oh, I made so many, I lost count. Let me start counting again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. That may happen to you while you're drawing. If you have a big number that you're trying to draw with a picture or show with a picture, you might lose count. So it's always a good idea to count over, again, what you've already done. Okay, So he started with, he had 10 apples. He ate 4 apples. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cross out 4 apples because he ate them. 2, 3, 4. And then how many does he have left? This would be how many he has left right here. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, he ate those. He has these left over. Okay? So to find the answer, I would just count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our answer is, to 10 minus 4, that answer is 6. And I'm going to write a unit there, a label. The label is apples. That's what we're talking about, how many apples he has left. I always need to make sure that I do that so that when I go back later, I don't get confused by what we were talking about. Good job with that, friends.